Hello! Shading basic forms with soft pastels. I'm going to start by drawing them in pencil, and I'm looking at how the light affects the form. So if the light is coming from this direction over here, you can see there's highlights, and then round things will gradually get darker as this, the sphere comes over here, a little brighter, gets darker as it goes to the side. A pyramid will have a sharp edge, and a cone has that gradation. And then with a cube, depending on what side faces the light, you'll have a light side, a medium, and a dark. So I want to try and draw these out so that I see all those different planes. And I'm going to have the light source start over here because that's where my light source currently does. And it helps to determine that before I start. And I'm going to start with here, let's do the box. So start with a cube, facing the light source here. So if I draw a box, 3 parallel angled sides, and then draw the back, I can get a general cube shape. I'm going to put a cone. Let's see, we'll do a cone right here. And a cylinder. It's going to have a flattened oval on top because I'm not seeing it here. When I see it from the side, that starts to flatten. Couple straight lines, and then a curve on the bottom. And these are sketches, so they don't have to be perfect. A little sketchy there. And let's see, we'll do our sphere over here. Sphere, something like that. Usually takes me a few times to kind of run around and get a sphere-esque thing. Sphere, there we go. All right, so if my light source is coming from here, I'm going to start drawing the cube with just one color. I have these nice Alpha Color soft pastels, and I'm going to, the side furthest away is going to be the darkest. So I'm going to start by making the value, let's see, I like this flat edge, come all the way to my edges. And I'm going to outline these edges because there aren't outlines in life, so I don't want my line or my pencil to define that edge. I want the change in value to define my edge. So I'm going to draw that in. This is where it's facing the light source the most, so that's really not going to have much value at all. This is going to have a little bit, so I'll just press lightly, and I like to shade with the soft pastels kind of in rows. And this looks like it's pretty close, so I'm going to go over this a little bit more. I'm not pressing real hard because when I do that, I tend to get a lot of dust. I just build the layers of the soft pastels. All right, and then I'm going to take my finger, and you can blend it with a tortillon or a blending stick also, because I'm just interested in sort of learning how the colors change. I'm going to just use my finger for the moment. And then blend these edges. Again, I'm kind of going with the direction of my marks. And then I might just use my finger then to get a nice little light value up here. Or I could leave it white. That would work too. And fill that in. But I should see a difference in each area and each side because that will give me those edges. Now, the cast shadow is going to be coming from this way, and there shouldn't be any edges on the cast shadow. It should be one smooth value so that that evens out. It will be a little darker at the base, so this color doesn't change a whole lot. And then I can come back with an eraser and make nice straight edges. And anytime I get eraser bits or dust from the pastel, I just give it a quick little puff of air so that I don't smear my values. All right, so I have light source, 3 different sides, sharp edges, so I know it's an edge of a plane. Now this one, I gotta do this guy like he's coming around the side. So I'm gonna start with my dark over here, coming around the side. What am I even talking about right there? I'm going to make it so that it has a smooth gradation or a smooth value change. Get up to my edges, and then I do kind of go in rows where I add a little more pressure here, and then I'm going to lighten my pressure as I move toward the center and as I move toward the light source. Now I notice I'm getting a line, so right there I'm going to go back in, add light pressure, and just come up there. Kind of bring that around because I want it to be a nice gradual change. And then my cast shadow is going to go this way, and it'll be more of a cone shape this time. Try to make my pressure as even as possible so that I don't have an outline. And now I'm going to follow this edge, get that edge locked in nicely. Follow my form. Anytime you're adding shading, if you follow the direction of your form, it kind of helps to make that form believable. Now I might do a little bit of back and forth in here just to get that color in there and get a nice smooth value change. But I don't want to do too much because it'll make it all one value pretty quickly. One of the things with soft pastels I find is like shade it, blend it, leave it alone. If you keep going over it, you're just going to get overworked and you're not going to get as clean an edge. There. So now I have, bring that in, a cone with a nice smooth value change. Maybe I'll go a little darker here just to really emphasize that gradual change in value. Just don't want to line. And one with edges. Now my cylinder, I'm gonna try something new and exciting. I'm going to go with a light and a dark of the same color, similar colors. I could use like a yellow orange, I could do an orange red. I'm gonna do a light green and a dark green, but I'm gonna make my dark like I did before, but I'm gonna add a little bit of light so I don't have quite as much white to work with here. So this is away from my light source, so this becomes the dark. Define my edges. And then I'm going to, again, go over following the form. So I'm making the nice vertical lines to follow the vertical side of the form. And then I lighten my pressure. Lighter, lighter, lighter as I come around. And now, okay, so light source is here. So this side's got to be lighter. What if I come here? This is interesting. Add a little more pressure with a lighter color and let that be my light source. Now it's really easy in doing this to get a line in the center. And I don't want it to look like an edge. I want it to be a gradation, not an edge. So I overlap the light and the dark. And I'm going to start with the dark, define that edge, blend vertically just like my marks, maybe a little more to define these edges, and then I'll do just a little because it's curved, a little bit of curve there, but I don't want to go too much back and forth because again I don't want one even value. I'm going to come around and I should see a pretty even value change. Now here maybe that's the white. Because this is, I mean, technically this should be lower so that my light source would be on that side. I'm going to shade them all with the light source sort of above and to the right a little bit, just to give you an idea. Maybe this is light, but more like that. Oh, too much, too much. That's okay. I can come back in with my eraser and draw with my eraser now to define that edge. So I can come back that way. I can clean up this edge. Like that, clean up that, and then this would be straight and then round, but it's going to go off the page. So this will go, let's go this way. So instead of the round top, it's just going to go off the page a little bit. Try and shade it evenly so I don't get an outline. Let's clean that up a little bit, like so. There we go. I could actually come back here. It's a teeny tiny white, maybe a little bigger white, with a little bit of white too, and add a highlight that way, or maybe there's a highlight here. Sometimes there's things like that. When you change colors, which I'm noticing with this one, just make sure that you might have to kind of like clean them off a little bit. They get pretty dirty. All right, now down here, if I'm doing a sphere, let's see, I'm gonna do a yellow and an orange. Or orange. And I'm going to, again, start with my dark. So away from here, my dark is here. I think the spheres are the hardest. And I want my curves to follow the curve of my sphere. And I could do this just like these, where I then lighten my pressure. I want it to start to come around and leave a little white hole, because it's going to blend. And these are the easiest to just become a one color circle. I don't want a circle, I want a sphere. So I could do that, or I could start to come in here with another color. So let's just say I'm shading an orange right now, but I'm using a little bit of another color just to give it some nice variation. And then, oof, I need a clean finger. That's gonna be clean enough. Start in the center where it's clear. Light source is not gonna hit in the center. It's a little bit to the top and the right because that's the direction of my light source. I blend this in. And if I come back too far, it's really easy, like, oh, I don't really see that color much anymore. So I could go back and add a little bit more of the other color. Oop, that's a little dirty. Ugh, let me take some out of there. I could take some out and lighten it. Or maybe I come in again with a little bit of white and use the white like a blender, which actually is blending that quite nicely. So I get that coming in that way. Now I need my cast shadow, which is going to be a lot like the top of my cylinder over here. All one value, away from the light source, blend it. And bring that edge in there. Now, sometimes I draw outlines with like a light colored chalk so I don't get these pencil outlines too, because I don't necessarily want to see those. There, basic forms. There you go. Thank you.